Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So Novak Djokovic has created a video responding to the reason as to why he didn't give a post-match interview at the Australian Open, which is, I think, still going on. I'm not entirely sure because I don't watch tennis. I'm not a fan of tennis. But personally, what this Nine News journalist, I guess you can call him a journalist, even though what he did was not journalism at all. And he should be, I guess, fired to some degree or reprimanded quite extensively and be forced to apologize for doing what he did, because as a journalist, you're supposed to have standards. You're not supposed to do what this journalist did and openly mock the tennis great as well as the Serbian fans. It's unacceptable, and I cannot believe that it happened in Australia, no less. Again, because Australia has got this really bad history when it comes to Novak Djokovic, but still, he has much better character than any of the Australians that continue to mock him or even do exactly what this journalist did, if I can even call him a journalist. So have a watch. It's, to be honest with you, it's rather disgusting and despicable behavior, and I personally can't believe he did it. And still, no apology from Channel 9 and no apology from the journalist. Unacceptable behavior. Have a watch.
Back to Melbourne Park, where you can see the Novak Djokovic fans there in full voice. Yeah, the chants are quite extraordinary. Novak, he's overrated. Novak's a has-been. Novak, kick him out. Boy, I'm glad they can't hear me. Anyway, let's get on to the tennis and world number.
He says, boy, I'm glad they can't hear me. This journalist or presenter's name is Tony Jones, who apparently is a legendary presenter. Now, if you don't know the history of Novak Djokovic trying to enter into Australia and play in the Australian Open during the whole COVID debacle, Novak stood his ground and chose not to get vaxxed. And I have a lot of respect for the man, because the man was attacked to oblivion for standing up for his morals and his beliefs. Australia kicked him out because he wouldn't get vaxxed. They wouldn't allow him to play. They forced him to stay in a hotel room, quarantining, and then they refused to allow him to play. Australia owes, the Victorian government, I should say, owes Novak Djokovic a major apology, but they won't. They won't. Dictator Dan, who was in power during that time, couldn't care less. He couldn't care less. He governed Victoria like it was his own dictatorship, and it was disgusting to see. And what he did to the tennis great was also horrendous. And now you've got presenters like Tony Jones. I'll call him a presenter because he's no journalist, in my opinion. Tony Jones openly mocking the tennis great, and then no apology. And he's going, oh, boy, I'm glad they can't hear me. Mate, you said it on live TV. So what do you think's going to happen? Obviously, they're going to see it later. You're an absolute dingbat. You're a woke, nonsensical dingbat. What were you thinking? Obviously, not much in the moment, aside from your own personal bias to go after Novak Djokovic. Now, I personally have a lot of respect for Novak after his response to this. He refused to give an after-match interview, which you would normally do, right, for Channel 9 and other broadcasters. But he chose not to. And he said this. Have a watch.
Hey, guys. Thank you all for support. Great match again against Lehečka, who's in form. Looking forward to next matchup with the Carlos, and I just want to take a moment to reflect on what happened on the court. The reason why I did not do an interview that is a common practice after the matches for the winner to do a post-match interview. So just wanted to make sure that I clarify with everyone what happened. The reason why I chose not to do that is because a few days ago a famous sports journalist here from Australia who works for a main broadcaster of Australian Open at Channel 9 decided to mock Serbian fans, and he made insulting and offensive comments towards me. So I was hoping he's going to apologize in public, which he hasn't done yet. Neither did the Channel 9. So that's the only reason why I didn't do the interview. It was, of course, not a great feeling for me, and it was quite awkward on the court. Jim Courier was the one that came out. I have tremendous respect for him, and I always love speaking to Jim. And I know that a lot of people wanted to hear me speak, so I apologize for everyone being on the stadium and not being able to hear me speak, and on the TV as well. But that's the main reason, and I have to stand by, my decision and hold these stands until something is done. So I leave it to Channel 9, and hopefully that situation will change for the next match. All the best.
It takes a lot of courage to stand up for what you believe in and not do a post interview, even though you would have loved to have done it. But you're standing up and you're courageously saying what that presenter did was unacceptable. It was offensive. You should not accept it. You should not just take it on the chin and move on with it. You have a professional broadcasting association, and their presenter, Tony Jones, openly mocks a tennis great for no reason whatsoever, just because he personally doesn't like him. Now, on live TV, no less, making the comments that he made and also mocking the Serbian fans. You don't think that that would have brought repercussions? You're supposed to be held to a high standard as a journalist. At least you would hope so, right? Especially here in Australia. But poor Novak, this is probably like every time he comes back to Australia and plays in Melbourne, something happens to him. Something happens to him. And for the life of me, I can't work out why they hate him so much, aside from the fact that he is a courageous man and he stands by what he believes in. That should earn you a lot of respect. The video that he made, that he posted in 10 hours, got 50 million impressions over on X. Elon Musk shared it. You had countless people that are commenting on it. The whole world has now watched what that Jones presenter said and did. So not only has Jones made a mockery out of Novak, but he's made a mockery out of the entirety of Australia, because the world has now watched what an Australian broadcaster did on live TV, no less, to a tennis great. Is this the standard? Is this the quality that the Australian Broadcasting Associations, is that what we now should expect from them, from these so-called journalists? Despicable behavior. Even Dr. Andrew Huberman has weighed in. He's gone, this is what pioneering a new path of public figures to connect to their fans in the public generally looks like. I predict this will become the new normal soon. Notice how Novak Djokovic graciously kept the door open for proper remedy too. Bravo. Novak wants an apology. Will Channel 9 and Jones give him an apology? I wonder. Jones has made Australia, as well as himself, an embarrassment and a disgrace. What happened to the professionalism? Professional courtesy. Horrible. When I saw this, I'm just going, you've got to be kidding me. This is Australia? Oh, it's woke Melbourne, no less. But even still, it shouldn't happen. It should not happen, especially to the likes of a great like Novak Djokovic. And I don't even like tennis. Doesn't mean that it should still happen. If it was a person in the crowd heckling and whatever else, that's different. When you're on a National Broadcasting Association in Australia, to the entirety of Australia, and you're openly mocking a tennis great as well as the fans and saying very offensive remarks, you should be ashamed of yourself. And the consequences should be severe and should be dire. Am I going after a man's job? He made his bed. May as well lie in it. Anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care. Be blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.